It is hotter than the deserts of Jakku here in sunny Los Angeles, but we're here talking about all of the news this week from Star Wars, including the miniseries Droid Tales back from 2015. Stick with us, we're going to have a good time.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk, we talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Jedi Alliance.
Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Jedi Alliance, a celebration of the greatest saga ever told. And we're inconspicuously creeping toward our 100th episode.
What?
Yeah, I mean we got like 2 months, but still, we're getting there. It's gonna be a good time. The 50th was great.
Is this 92?
This is 93.
93!
We're going to be talking Droid Tales
Right.
as well as some of the top news of the week. A lot of video content, so if you're not watching us on YouTube, make sure to do that. I'm one of your hosts, the internet's Mark Donica, joined as always by the war hero to my prissy golden robot, Mr. John Rocha.
Done. Hello, everybody. Very happy to be back. Let's talk some Star Wars. I'm excited. Let's get to it.
Yeah, let's not let the heat get to us, and let's
my
talk
gosh.
about some news from the HoloNet. HoloNet. That's too good. So we got our release details for the Star Wars Rebels Season 2 DVD and Blu-ray. That is August 30th.
Yeah.
The Blu-ray is going to have a couple of extra features from the DVD, so you always got to get your Blu-ray fix. We're going to get a seemingly more in-depth feature on Ahsoka versus Vader, so we're going to get some Clone Wars action in there. All of the episodes of Rebel Recon that were available on YouTube through the official Star Wars, and then Connecting the Galaxy, which I think is going to be the coolest feature.
Yeah.
Where they're talking about bringing Legends into it, bringing Clone Wars into it, the films into it, and I hope that that's a real substantial. Maybe not as long as the documentary that we got on The Force Awakens, but something fun. Is this a day one purchase for you?
I would say so, because this was a great season. This was so much fun. It took what they had already started near the tail end of the first season, and they really leaned into the darker aspects of the show. They still kept some of the kid stuff, some of the quirky little things that they have occasionally throughout the seasons, but I thought they really explored and expanded the universe even more, and the interactions between them as characters was deepened, and also we got some more backstory on these characters.
Yes.
So to me, that was so much fun. Plus, I don't think you can watch that episode enough between Zeb and Callus. Yeah. And that still stands out as one of the top 3 or 4 favorite episodes of so far of the first 2 seasons. There's just something about it that really speaks to what they can do when they minimize Star Wars from this expansive galaxy, planet-filled thing into just 2 people on a planet.
2 people in a cave.
Yeah, 2 people in a cave. And that speaks to the brilliance of the work.
I totally agree with you. If all of the same features are available digitally, I'd be super down. I ended up buying the the season finale, and I've watched it again and again on my phone. So it just way too good. I think anybody worth their salt, if they're, you can look at this. You can look at the DVD cover, the Blu-ray cover with Darth Vader's overarching hand, and see some recognizable folks in the bottom. So if you're a Star Wars fan and you haven't gotten into Rebels yet, this is the perfect opportunity to do so.
What's wrong with you?
Well, I mean, we won't judge very hard.
I'm sorry.
We'll judge pretty intensely, but not too hard.
Sure.
This is going to be a great set. John, this keeps happening, and I'm so sorry to keep bringing it up. We got E3 wrapped up at the end of last week, and we got a couple of extra bits of gaming news since our last show, so we're going to talk about them. Launching this week is the Bespin DLC for Battlefront. It looks gorgeous. We've got a new air vehicle with the Cloud Car. Lando and Dengar are our new heroes. A new game mode called Sabotage, which looks like you're trying to escape from Cloud City, like it's the end of Empire Strikes Back. And we got indoor Bespin maps, outdoor Bespin maps. Looks super solid. We have a trailer for you, so we're going to talk over it. But if you're watching us live, enjoy this. If you're listening to us on iTunes, this will be a great opportunity to get to us on the YouTube site, Popcorn Talk Network. Let's take a look at this trailer.
Attention, Bespin. The Empire is attacking the city.
Oh, he's
I've
beautiful.
got a score to settle.
And we're gonna see it in a sec, but they actually made Dengar look pretty cool.
Yes.
Like, surprisingly.
Like a legitimate bounty hunter.
Despite being covered in toilet paper.
Yeah.
And getting to run through the indoor halls of Cloud City.
Yeah.
Super awesome. You get to be in the place where Luke and Vader had their first confrontation. Super cool. The Cloud car is really slick. Not what I expected for the first expansion,
There he is.
but it looks like a fully auto heavy rifle from Dengar.
Right. Yo, we're gonna take a dirt nap.
And a cluster bomb, which seems to attach to enemies.
Yeah.
New guns, a whole bunch of new areas from Bespin. Absolutely love it. So iconic.
Yeah.
If they had launched this with the game, as opposed to and I can't even remember the name. Sullust.
Yeah.
If they launched with Bespin instead of Sullust, I
Yeah.
think you would have gotten a lot more people interested right out of the gate.
It's an interesting point you make, Mark, because what is the progression of release content in maintaining the increasing desire for more? If you start off right off the bat releasing the greatest stuff you have, then you release Sullust and people won't be that excited about Sullust.
True.
It's in comparison, do you know what I'm saying? But you make a great point. Yes, I agree with you. Absolutely. If they'd released Bespin with this, it'd have blown the doors off everything. This looks fantastic.
Beautiful.
This looks so good. And I love that Dengar's back. Dengar's in this because he's such an interesting bounty hunter for so many reasons, right? He doesn't do the subtle stuff at all. He is in your face, attack, and I imagine if they've got him in the game, that's the style that you can play him in. A more aggressive bounty hunter, a more in-your-face bounty hunter. Therefore, he can be more dangerous, but he can also be more stupid. It depends on the movements. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I love that. And so if you're going up against him, you'll kind of understand how to fight him. And this is brilliant to use Dengar. It's smart. It's that you take these characters that are like you mentioned, Mark. He wears toilet paper on his head. Yeah. It's kind of funny, but then you make him kind of bad, and you give him the right voiceover actor, which that guy did a great job with just one line. You know you're got a good guy.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
This looks like a version of the character that the fandom will probably be a little bit more ready to accept.
Yeah.
Maybe. Who knows?
Because
Possibly.
it looks more like a turban than toilet paper on his head.
Yeah, but
Yeah?
it looks really. This could be what gets me back into Battlefront.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten the last pack, the
Gotcha.
last DLC pack, because
Gotcha.
it was essentially just heroes and the gameplay mode. But Bespin looks absolutely beautiful,
Yeah.
and if you can do heroes versus villains in that interior setting and recreate the lightsaber battle, I mean, come on.
Can we stop on the Lando? Like Lando looks like
looks gorgeous.
He looks like a professional wrestler. It looks like he's wearing the belt, the title belt from Cloud City Championship. Look at him. It's a heavyweight championship of Cloud
Looks like
City.
the Lucha Underground Gift of the Gods Championship.
That's a great point.
I'm not going to let you get out of here with this belt.
Look
Not
at the
after
size
what
of
you
that thing.
pulled.
Look at the size of that thing.
Yeah,
That's
and
a
it sounded like
championship
Billy
belt.
D.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it is Billy D. It isn't Billy D.
Oh, no, it sounded like him.
Oh, yeah, it was a great job.
I hope it was.
Yeah.
So yeah, all that Battlefront stuff looks great. While we're still in the video game world, Sony, we got a little bit of a taste of this at the EA conference, but Sony confirmed it. We're getting an X-Wing VR mission through PlayStation VR. Let's take a quick look, and we'll talk over it a little bit. You get to play in a little bit of a campaign against a Star Destroyer, so not necessarily the Death Star run.
Yeah.
But it opens up the idea, well, the galaxy was huge. The Galactic Civil War had many battles.
Yeah.
How many battles can you do within this world? But
Look
putting
at this.
yourself in, it's absolutely brilliant.
Clear to engage.
And they already had the first person mode in the game, but putting yourself in the cockpit.
Yeah.
And even just that little tease. Huge ovation from the crowd. What do you want to see? New content? Do you want to be involved in a new battle or missions we've seen?
It's a very good question. I would like new content. I would like to explore whatever's in the canon. I would like to explore some of those battles that we presented in the media, like in Lost Stars and in Bloodline.
Yeah.
Would be fun to kind of see these battles in a certain way through this kind of stuff. And VR is, I mean, I love what they're doing with VR. It's becoming essentially the new 3D, where all of a sudden it's been around for a long time, but all of a sudden the pop culture is embracing it and wanting to do it, and obviously companies and manufacturers are getting involved and getting behind it. When you played Battlefront in X-Wing mode, It's a version of this.
Yeah.
And so this is going to take it to a whole. If you're wearing the goggles and you can see all around.
And also, this is the space battles
Yes.
that fans were complaining about from the beginning,
Yes.
and now it's in VR.
Yeah, and just from that little clip of that section, Mark, as soon as they start that's what it's going to. That's
Sensory
what it's
overload.
like. Exactly. That's what it would be like. The speed of that battle. Look at that. It's just fascinatingly awesome.
Then all we need is like a Mech Warrior-esque just whole console where you get the thrusters, you get to press the buttons, and you can have a thing come down and help you with aim. Who knows? But
The greatest thing with this VR, Mark, is that like at some point you could, if they really perfect this thing, you could actually be inside a Star Wars movie in your mind, like inside a movie, talking to Han Solo, talking to Princess Leia, Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford, like actually legitimately having conversation in a way with them. As they're being, because of the way they do it.
Funny you should say that. We do have a story later, after this next one. This one will be pretty quick. Jake the Droid, a name that not too many of you probably know. But this little droid was spotted at Star Wars Launch Bay at Disneyland. So if you go ahead and play the clip, it seems to have some amount of autonomy. A little bit more than just a smart Roomba following people around, taking a look at the surroundings. You might think, oh, is this even being controlled? It looks like it was kind of getting out of the way of the crowd.
Yeah.
But I think the coolest thing is there are a lot of panels surrounding the walls and the different parts. This is the cantina section. Yeah. And you see Jake here starting to interact with it.
Yeah.
Like a droid would. It's super cool. Probably be littered with it. It would probably be a little bit too dangerous to put it outside, so keeping it indoors. I'm going to be going to Disneyland soon, so I'll be able to get a first-hand account of it, hopefully, if they're still testing it. But I absolutely love that little guy.
Yeah.
How far do you think droid tech could go in the parks?
Wow. Well, I mean, we're already seeing stuff on if anybody who has Facebook or go on YouTube, you can see the robots, how lifelike they're getting these robots too. So that's a droid. How far can you take the droid? I mean, AG-88 can't be that far off, Mark, is what I'm trying to tell you.
That'd be pretty dangerous.
But this is great because it's a playful thing. It interacts with the fans. It moves around. Yeah, I thought the YouTube guy was complaining a little bit too much that it was connected to the walls. But it's like, well, it's working. It's working. So it's playing its little game. You have to follow along with it. I think this is a great next kind of step, I guess you could say, for what Disney is doing with the Star Wars brand. It's exploring, creating these droids to a degree that are playful, but they're also like you don't have that feeling that it's something you can touch, go after, mess around with, because it doesn't come and interact with you. So you kind of sense that you have to keep your space a little bit from it. But I think it will. I think it will advance to the point where it's like you'll have something like C-3PO actually, and not a guy in a costume. Actually, C-3PO droid walking up and talking to guests, what have you.
Free moving audio animatronic.
Yes, yeah.
Walt Disney World likes to do, because it's so vast and sometimes people spend weeks there, they do little quests where you get to go and interact with the environment and it interacts with you. Yeah. And I figure these droids would be the next step of, if you're trying to get a mission from somebody, this droid has the information, you put your little chip in it, it does a little projection, and you get to see something happen in the real world, like you are a member of the Rebel Alliance. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be super cool. So speaking of the VR and being able to interact with these folks, the company Magic Leap is creating an R2D2 and C-3PO for altered reality or virtual reality. Home use. So we have another video here. So this is very video heavy. That's why I recommend you go to YouTube, subscribe. So if we take a look at this here, in this person's home is a projected version of C-3PO and R2D2.
Wow.
So they're on the run from Jabba the Hutt.
Right.
R2 finds a table and projects the world the world, quote unquote, that you are in, and shows you that stormtroopers are coming.
Look at that. Amazing.
I told you it was dangerous here. We have not yet.
And with the Falcon going off, yeah.
How did we get into this mess? I really don't know.
And it doesn't say whether or not it utilizes a headset or if it's all projection.
Yeah.
But that's beyond remarkable.
Yes.
And for projections, they look like they're there.
Yeah, and it's so intricate in the projection that it has. Then the movement of the stormtroopers within the projection are very realistic. So it gets you. There's not anything that I saw right there in that clip that takes you out of the game or takes you out of what's happening.
The experience.
The experience. It feels very real when you're watching it here, and I'm sure it feels very real when you're experiencing it. This is it. This is brilliant. Look at this. This is C-3PO. You have. I'm sure this Anthony Daniels, the guy that voiced it, I think, and then R2. Like, you can participate in this. Now you can be completely surrounded by this environment, so that you can participate in this. And there's no greater thing.
And it looked like R2 was coming in from another room.
Right.
There are a lot of virtual reality and alternate reality experience these days where you scan or put in the measurements of your room.
Yeah.
Like, I know Microsoft's VR is going to utilize something like that, where you can actually put something on your wall and utilize it as a window as opposed to a wall.
Yeah.
And it's remarkable, the technology that we get. But the first thing that people go is, how do we put Star Wars into this?
Yeah.
That is the reach of this culture, of this phenomenon, and can't wait to see it further. Because with the Wii, it was like, okay, here's this video game technology. It feels like I have a lightsaber in my hand. When do we get Star Wars?
Yeah.
We didn't really get the ideal Star Wars experience we wanted, but we're starting to get that more and more. Beyond excited.
Yeah. I mean, how can I say this? It's logical, Mark, because what's the best way to promote it? What's the best way to sell it to the most amount of people? Star Wars. Right? What's the property you want to start at? Star Wars.
Yeah.
And so it just makes sense because there's so many things to explore. They look like somebody's living room.
Yeah.
Right? They put it right in there. They project it in there. You can play within that environment. And why not? Because those guys are great to guide you through it. They C-3PO and R2-D2. I think they're so smart, man.
Moving from C-3PO to R2-D2 to, well, C-3PO and R2-D2. So there's a whole bunch of Lego happening in the world of Star Wars.
Yes.
So we decided to go back. 2015, there was a miniseries on Disney XD called Droid Tales, where C-3PO recounted the entire saga of Star Wars, including some stuff that we did not see yet. So tonight debuts the Freemaker Adventures on Disney XD, so we thought this would be a good thing to go with. There was also a Lego Star Wars demo. I don't know if you played it.
No
reason to talk about it then. No, that's fine. Because the game comes out next week.
All right.
So
I didn't know it was available. I should have gotten the demo. I would have totally played it.
A free demo on PlayStation 4.
Okay,
I'm
I won't
pretty sure
download
it's still up. But yeah, so we decided to go back into the annals of Lego Star Wars and check out Droid Tales. This was so fun.
Right? Oh, good. I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah. And I watched it for the first time in its entirety.
Yeah.
But I realized I had seen so much of this here and there on Disney, waiting for Rebels or whatever and what have you, and people linking on Facebook or whatever.
Yeah.
Like the whole Watto red flag.
Oh my gosh.
Danger sign. Like all of that I had seen before, but not in this context.
Yeah.
What is your favorite episode out of the 5?
I think, it's really hard to exclude the Jar Jar episode. Just everything they do with Jar Jar in that one episode is so smart and hilarious. It's hard for me not to include, but I think the Return of the Jedi one is my favorite one.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that one a lot. What about you?
There's a lot.
Okay.
There's a lot. I liked the retelling of the prequels.
Yes.
A lot. Because it wasn't just hey, here's the story. It was easy for kids who are new into the franchise without being weighed down. And for adults, it said, well, what does this mean? And they went, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
A lot of the muddled messaging that we got from all of that. So it's a fun way to acknowledge it while not necessarily putting it into canon, but we'll talk more about that later. But I liked how... I loved the Emperor.
Yes.
Because it was silly and childish, but it was all... This is a guy who loves being evil.
Yeah.
No matter what. It was just a little bit more annoying, but it was still very entertaining. When he would slowly get evil and his head would turn into the evil head. It's like, no, I can't look. If you go to DisneyXD.com, all you have to do is like most streaming services, put in your cable information and you can watch them for free. That's what I did. It was super easy.
Yeah. And they're like 22 minutes each.
Yeah.
And they're 5 episodes. So it's worth it because it's so much fun to have. And I've said this a couple times on the show, so I'm glad we were able to do this. But like, it does a great job with walking the line between respecting the property and making fun of the stuff that we would laugh at because we understand as film watchers the ridiculousness of a few of these things, and it's fun to explore it in a good-hearted way, a good-natured way, and I think Lego does that.
I'd say for the Empire episode when Lando walks up and they're like, "It's okay, you can trust him. I don't like you, but I love you," and he just keeps going from bad to good to bad to good. I was just kidding, gotcha. Yeah. That was a lot of fun. Seeing all of the old stuff from the original movies put into context of, again, even though this isn't quote unquote canon, having 3PO go from the moon of Endor to Coruscant, like instantly, was great. Like, it kind of makes me feel a little bit more okay with the special editions including Coruscant,
right?
Because like, oh well, this happened more than once.
Right.
And it brought it all together. Loved when they were talking about the names. Like, what are you thinking? Well, girl Leia, but for a boy. And just kept listing off names. IG-88 was in there. And it's like, oh my God. Can we get ruthless robot killing machine Luke Skywalker? Probably not.
Yeah, all of that was so sweet, wasn't it? Like, they I think you're right what you said, Mark. They went back to the prequels and they made them for some people who don't like them maybe or don't think they like them as much as others, they made them palatable and funny, and they made fun of them in a way that you could actually get something out of. Like, you could see the point of why they did certain things, and then also making fun of the points of why they did certain things that didn't make any sense. All of that is so brilliantly done there, and it's so much fun to go through through eyes, and the stupid stuff they do with when he steals the ship, all of this, like different kind of shit. How's he doing? What's he doing? Has he left the keys in there? Who leaves the keys? Like, there's just little things that are anachronistic, but they work because you like turn your brain off a little bit and just enjoy them doing the property the way that they're doing with the stupid little jokes. And I don't mean stupid in a negative way. I mean stupid in a way that's fun, and I enjoy that.
I did too. I'm really happy that you kept talking this series up. We got a little bit of Rebels in there.
Yeah.
I actually did a little bit of research. None of the actors from the show did their voices, which was really surprising because they sounded really, really accurate.
Yeah, Lego doesn't usually do that. That's why I was surprised that they brought Harrison in to do the new game. They do the voice of Solo in the game, because I thought for sure it was going to be someone else. And so it's so, because Lego does, like, man, they spend money on the other things, So, but the actors that they pick usually do great work when they're voicing over those characters.
I also think with Disney now, from Harrison back when they opened up the Indiana Jones ride, did you ever hear the story of why he isn't the voice of Indiana Jones? No. He said, "I'll do it. I don't want to do any commercials or press for it."
Wow.
They had him in the studio, and they said, "Fine, that's fine." Had him in the studio, and somebody comes in saying, "Hey, Harrison, we got this commercial set." He walked right out of the building.
Get out of here.
Like, that's it. I'm done. Wow. So yeah, I think Disney has it in their contracts now.
Yeah.
Because I think Tim Allen did something similar with the Buzz Lightyear ride, where if you're the voice of something, or if you're a character of something, part of your contract is you are the voice of that for everything. It happened with Disney Infinity before it got canceled. Yeah. Anything like, John Boyega being on Star Tours.
Yeah.
And in Disney Infinity and everything. Like, he's a Star Wars nerd, so he'll say yes to all of that. But sometimes, hey, can you sign this contract and just be a part of everything?
Right.
That'd be great. So it seemed like a natural progression to get Harrison in the new one. But I was surprised if at this point Rebels was done with its first season.
Yeah.
We have an extra 10 minutes where everybody has maybe 3 lines. Yeah. I don't even know if Ezra spoke, maybe once.
Yeah.
But yeah, seeing Bail Organa.
Yeah.
And having the card gimmick where everybody was like, "Bingo, you're a rebel too." And the idea of C-3PO getting his memory back. Was very fun and a chance to play with it.
Yeah.
Him thinking back to all of the crap that R2-D2 putting him through, and it's just like, I want to hit him again. He's a monster. My favorite. I think one of my favorite lines was do you want to stay here? Or do you want to become a Jedi? And yippee! It's like, that boy's too much like his father. Like, that's the one. All right. Showing the dark side a little bit too much.
Yeah. And then that's a great example, right? That's a great example of the joke within the joke. I mean, it's just brilliant stuff that they do. And I read some reviews before we came on the set, and I was surprised at some of the reviews that were like, well, they just make fun of it too much or make fun. And I'm just like, man, you gotta let go. You gotta let go. It's a property. It's a movie. It's fun. This is a great franchise. Understand, we have to enjoy it, and we can make fun of it. It's possible. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think they make fun of it in a really smart way.
You can take yourself seriously, but don't take this too seriously.
Yeah, I mean,
on.
seriously.
I love the waiter in Cloud City. Just keep coming back. You wrote, and like it finally took the third time for him to push him away. But like, I'm trying to tell him I'm his father. What? And also Matt Sloan, awesome Darth Vader.
Yes.
He has got great comedic timing. It was cool to see them go back to Geonosis and have Veers try to rebuild the droid army, which I think was fun and could be a fun storyline if they tried it. Even though I think there was the episode on Geonosis that we heard so much about in Rebels, where I want to see that. Somebody see it. Turning into Louis Black over here. Did you notice the Monty Python joke in episode 5?
Remind me.
So Veers was like, "I'll be right back," and
oh yeah, he says either you want to hear, we stay here, then you go. Is that what it was?
Yeah, it was all that from
the
Monty
two
Python,
guards.
and they start following him out. It's like, what? We're going with you. No,
Yes.
you stay here and make sure he doesn't leave. Yeah, I was like, good on you, Lego. Most of the Traveler's Tales I don't know if the folks who do the games and have any input in the cartoons, but they're British. Traveler's Tales is a British show. The giant battle droid was cool.
Yes,
this was a really fun series. If you haven't seen, I mean, it doesn't really give you anything too new. It gives it to you from a new. I think this is the Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead version of the trilogy.
That's a very good
or
reference.
the saga 1 through 6.
Really great saga.
Yeah.
reference.
So if anybody hasn't, like, this is a perfect opportunity. We're getting new Lego stuff tonight.
Yeah.
A new Lego game coming out in a couple of weeks. This was so much fun, John. Thank you.
You're welcome, man. I'm glad you took the time to watch them, because it's kind of really slipped under the radar, which was really surprising to me, because Rebels is being consumed like nobody's business. I was surprised this slipped on the radar and it wasn't talked about a lot, you know. And they came out with those 4 or 5 minute shorts that they did, or the Lego did with the with the Raptors and all the kinds of, like, I saw the one again. I rewatched this morning, the one with Finn and Phasma, where he's on the bench and they're calling him into the game, and he's gonna be, and he keeps lifting his, like, it's those little things that they make fun of, but still keep the joy of Star Wars that I think Lego is just so perfect to do. And maybe I'm an idiot. Maybe it's just my style of humor that I love so much. That's why I loved everything Lego does with Star Wars. I absolutely love it.
The thing about Lego is it hits an intrinsic sort of humor that we carry on from childhood that we can all laugh at, and because it's a toy, we don't take it too seriously. Like, this is ridiculous. They're just too silly with this thing that I love. And if I don't understand how anybody could not enjoy Lego humor, because one of my favorite Lego jokes was from the original Lego Star Wars game, where in Empire Strikes Back, this is before they did talking. And it's the scene in Empire at the end. Luke is backed up and Vader is coming up to him, and he pulls out a Polaroid of him and Padme with a picture of the two kids, and Luke just what? And he realizes it, and it's like, you have this moment without talking. How do you do it? That's a great way to get around it. So they had to do all of the pantomime for years. So now going and starting to talk, it's totally so worked out. Absolutely loved it. Yes, do Droid Tales, watch it. It's absolutely fantastic. Available at a DVD store near you. Probably not. Go on Amazon. It's probably a lot easier to find. So we're going to go on from here to Mind Probe. That's the segment where you go to our Facebook page or our Twitter, which we're starting to accept Twitter responses as well. You ask us a question that's either deep in lore or our opinion or funny. Absolutely anything goes, and well, not anything goes, within reason. This is a family show, for goodness sakes. But yes, we've got some great questions from you, the viewers. So, John,
Yes.
why don't you start with one of yours, and then we'll go with one of mine.
Okay, I want to start with the second one I chose. Dale Smeltzer sends us, do you think Ben chose the name Kylo Ren, or was it given to him? Also, if he chose it, do you think it is a possible combination of Sky, KY Walker, and Solo, LO, showing that he is still connecting to his heritage?
I didn't think of that.
Never occurred to me.
I mean, fans are great.
Yes, they
They'll
really
pull
are.
Anything out of whatever. There was a character in one of the early Star Wars animated shows named Kylo something.
Oh.
So from a production standpoint, I think they went, that's a really cool name. We want to use it in an actual place.
Yeah.
But he was like a fat bounty hunter, like gross alien dude. So
Right.
bring it back for this. I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll accept this.
I absolutely accept this, and I think it's incredibly inventive if they did, because even if they saw the Kylo, it's still, maybe they went and had this thought, oh, that could work, because the KY from Skywalker, the Lo from Han Solo, this is perfect to put them together. I like it. I think it's a brilliant little thing, and when I saw it, I said, I got to include it. I got to give this guy credit. We got to talk about it at least for a minute. So I'm such a fan of this being a possibility. Someone should ask J.J. Abrams about this.
Yeah, I think it's something, if we ever see Kylo turn to the light, it'll be like something that he'll just kind of write on, like Sky will, like he'll connect them, and you'll see, and they'll play the two moons or the two suns, and it's gonna be something pretty phenomenal. I like that a lot. Absolutely crazy. Reminds me of something from Star Trek. Okay, so one of my questions from Amy Wishman.
All right.
In Attack of the Clones, should Yoda have let Obi-Wan and Anakin die to prevent Dooku's escape during their duel? Did he show attachment?
Well, of course he showed attachment. Oh, I mean, why would he let them die? It doesn't make sense. He wouldn't have that's not Yoda's, that would have turned Yoda into something else. More ruthless. Like what we saw last night, if you watch the Game of Thrones, spoiler, there is a moment where a certain character comes in later in a certain situation, but if that character had chosen to reveal certain information earlier in the situation, maybe people wouldn't have died. And so...
You're good at that.
Yeah, well, when you work a show like that, you figure out how to speak in general terms before people lose their minds and kill you. But like, I think with this, it would have put a whole nother, a darker side to Yoda, a more ruthless, and I don't mean in a negative way.
Sure.
He's looking at the big picture, and I think the thing about Yoda is he guides you personally. It's not about the big picture in terms of like, well, you can sacrifice certain things to achieve this. It's more a matter of like, you have to do what's right in the moment. And I think it would have been such a thing against him if he didn't.
Yeah, I think...
and I get the attachment thing.
I don't think Yoda would have, but I think another character would. Why am I totally blanking? And I hate it. This is a Star Wars... It's the worst time to blank on a Star Wars character's name. Samuel L. Jackson's character.
Mace Windu?
Mace Windu.
Yeah.
I think he would have, because he beheaded a dude in front of his kid.
He really did.
And would be like, yo, he's getting whatever. Let them take the fall so that I
Right.
can come from behind. Because he's a little bit more aggressive in ending the dark side.
He was going to kill Palpatine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think if any character would, he would.
Yeah.
But Yoda also coming up to Senator Amidala and saying, seeing you alive brings warm feelings to my heart. So I don't think he would have had it in him.
Yeah, plus this is younger in the process of Yoda. Yoda is younger at this point, so maybe, you know.
I mean, like 30, 40 years, but I mean...
Yeah, but what is that in Yoda time? I don't know what that is in Yoda time. Is that 100 years in Yoda time? I don't know.
Yeah. No, like legitimately 30 to 40 years.
Younger.
Younger than maybe 50 than how he is in Empire.
This is an interesting question.
Yeah. I like it.
Are they creatures like dogs with the years for 7 years? Like, I'm just
Well,
wondering.
no, because he's 800, 900 years old.
That's what I'm saying.
So it's a legitimate 40 years.
Oh, I got you.
From the Clone Wars to Empire.
Yeah, but a human 40 years.
No, not human 40 years. Human would probably be like half a year. Which is like, how is he so agile? If it's that, does it really decline?
That's a very good point.
Yeah, it's weird.
All right.
You want to ask your other one?
Yeah, sure. Seth Niebaum says, will Disney, and this is really makes sense considering what we've been talking about on this show, will Disney do an animated series that takes place between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens once Rebels is over? It seems like very fertile ground.
Yo, all about it.
Yeah.
Super all about it.
Right.
Same animation style, get Filoni in there. I know there's a finite story that we can tell with that, especially with Rogue One coming out. So yeah, what we're seeing in the books so far is just like either make that a series or make it a Netflix series. Doesn't necessarily have to be animated, but just there's so much that we can see.
There's such a demand for information from that time. People love Bloodline because it kind of fills in some holes here that we didn't know about. So why not have an animated series that explores more of that and it creates more of that? And you can bring more things in. And if you want to, it seems like a perfect situation if you want to bring in new canon from stuff from that was in Legends. You can bring it in and explore like they're doing on Rebels. Why not? Filoni already has a reputation of doing that. He would continue that into this new series as well. I'd be so excited for that.
Totally agree. All
right.
All right, the last one we're going to do is from Colt Badu on Twitter. This one will probably take a little bit of discussion. Rey versus Ahsoka Tano. Who wins? He did put lol when asking this question. But I think if we're talking about this is Rey's first experience as a Jedi versus Ahsoka's first experience as a Jedi. Because you can't put a master against a Padawan.
Well, we saw. Yeah, that's a good point.
So
okay.
If we're talking both in the first year, we got some fantasy booking going on.
Sure.
I think Rey
wins.
I think Rey wins as well because she has more untapped potential and she has more ability to summon stuff. Where Ahsoka really learned a lot in her time during Clone Wars,
right.
And through her experiences. Where Rey is just raw Force energy. It seems.
Right. Ahsoka was too naive when she started out. Too pesky, too irritating.
Snips.
Yeah. Where you have Rey already, what we saw from Rey is a more composed character. And so she would absolutely, if she had to destroy her and beat her in battle, I think Rey would definitely be able to do it. She doesn't take no for an answer.
No.
She doesn't fail.
And that's something that some good animators out there will probably create at some point. If Ahsoka lives through the events of Rebels and is around through the original trilogy, and we get a follow-up series in between 6 and 7.
Yeah.
Something we might be able to see before Rey, like she might go to Jakku and we might get a duel. Who knows? Yeah. And speaking of duels, though, we will go to one of our favorite segments, Duel of the Fates. Didn't even plan that.
You are killing these segues today.
And I'm usually terrible at them. Watchmen Afterbuzz, terrible at segues. Last week's question. With all of the big E3 announcements, is the best way to engross yourself in the digital world with a lightsaber or with a blaster? And this was a tie. That's what I liked about it.
Yeah.
I'll read Stephen Mullins.
Okay.
I picked all Steve's this week for some reason.
You did.
Blaster. The top 3 I played are Shadows of the Empire, Dark Forces, and the original Battlefront on the Xbox. I loved the story in Shadows and think Dash was a great character. Would be a great straight-to-DVD movie or network special. Dark Forces on PC had such cool guns like Doom at that time. So yeah, I can totally see that. And with Dash Rendar. Nope. Yep. What? I'm braining. Yes. So much from that series. I can totally agree with Blaster. Why don't you take Stephen Kelly?
Yeah, Stephen Kelly, he says, I think blasters for tactical gameplay. I think blasters for tactical gameplay and skill. Lightsabers for storytelling. Although virtual reality will definitely make lightsabers more interesting to use. For now, I enjoy taking the time to aim or planning my strategy. One time in Battlefront 2 for Xbox, I camped out on a snowy hill on Hoth with a sniper. Another time, I was the last player on my team and played through a 45-minute standoff against 2 AT-ATs, where I had to keep running back into the base and reloading my rocket launcher.
That's stressful.
This kid is dedicated.
But also, this was before time limits, where it's just like, no, you just gotta get that last kill. We'll be here. Our servers will be up until you're done. You can go, take your time. We're here. I can't imagine.
Right?
It's, especially if they took time limits away from current Battlefront, where it's 32 on 32, 16 on 16.
I will say that in Battlefront, I enjoy blasters more than the lightsabers on Battlefront. But go ahead.
Yeah,
using the blaster.
My favorite hero character uses Palpatine. Because he's a little bit more of a support.
Yes.
You can spawn as scout troopers and get better weapons.
Right.
Drop health. Yeah, I like using him a lot.
Yeah.
And our last answer from Stefan Kruger. I like to use the blaster in first-person shooter games like Jedi Knight series. I hated the lightsaber in it. I love my laser sword when I can see how badass my character looks in a third-person perspective, like the Knights of the Old Republic series back in the day. In Battlefront, I prefer the blaster. So yes, these are our 3 favorite responses. It was super even on Facebook. Remember, for our Duel of the Fates, you go to Facebook. We post it every Tuesday. Like this one. This one we talked about a lot. And much like we did with the series a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Should the Lego-based Star Wars content be considered canon or stay a comedic playground? Very hard question, but we're starting to see original series like the Freemaker Adventures. I'm a fan of some of the stuff that they include being canon. If they go from scenes that you haven't seen from the movie, scenes that happened in the background, I could see it happening. I'm a fan of it. I'm just a fan of comedy in general.
Yes.
So I'm going to say I would love for it to be considered canon.
Okay.
But what do you say?
I agree with you. I think it should be considered canon, but not everything. I think they should it should be certain things that are considered canon so they can use later, possibly, because you can use them almost like a trial balloon. You put the stuff in here, we're not necessarily committed to it. It happens. It goes. If the fans respond to it, we can put that in a movie. We can make that canon, officially canon. I think it's tailor made for that. You know, these series tailor made for that, floating up trial balloons of characters, of storylines, of planets, of systems, of terrain, what have you. They can explore that in these.
A chopper R2-D2 death battle.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Which, oh my God,
I was
wouldn't
like,
that be fantastic?
Chopper's gonna kill him.
Wouldn't that be
because
fantastic?
Chopper is a psychopathic killer.
As Hera said.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's absolutely mad.
And I wouldn't be and I wouldn't be surprised because Kathleen Kennedy, and I've said this a number of times on many Star Wars shows, she said from the beginning, we are going to put canon stuff in all the media. In all forms of media. Like, it'll be released canon stuff in all forms of media. That's how you get people addicted to pay for anything they want to watch, play, or encounter with their money that is Star Wars related. You put canon stuff in there, and I think this would be a great idea.
Yeah, and we're going to see a lot more of the world before The Force Awakens and Force Awakens when the Lego Star Wars game comes out. Lego Force Awakens comes out next week.
Yeah.
And then Freemaker Adventures happening in between Empire and Jedi could offer a whole bunch of extra looks into Jedi lore.
Absolutely.
Especially with an entire lightsaber made out of a Kyber crystal.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Looks so awesome.
Looks like it's going to be fun. It's going to be a great time. What do you think? You can visit our Facebook page at Jedi Alliance on Facebook. We're going to be posting this tomorrow, probably pretty early. And we want to hear your opinion. We read your opinions on the show. Become a part of the show with us. We absolutely love doing it. We love having your responses. Mind Probe as well. We want to bring y'all as a part of the show. We'll probably do a Cantina Confession soon. Have you ever been on the show when we did that?
No.
That's when people call in like you're sitting up at the... people call in like you're sitting up at the cantina and tell a embarrassing story about being a Star Wars fan.
I love that idea.
Cool. So we're gonna do that before episode 100. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. We bolted through that show.
We really did.
But I absolutely loved every minute of it.
Can I drink during the Cantina Confessions?
John Rocha. Probably.
Okay.
Yeah,
done.
We can get some blue milk in
I'm in. Yes.
some Romulan ale. Wait.
Yes.
Sorry, no, that's...
Boo.
Sorry, that's what I'm...
Beware
Excuse
people
me.
carrying Romulan ale. Yes. All right. What's your question? Oh, hey, yeah, guys, you can follow me. I'm telling you, the heat, you people do not understand.
It's
the
really
heat
hot.
is madness in LA today. Everyone is just trying to get through. It's 108 degrees. People are spontaneously combusting as they walk out of buildings.
When I got into the studio, it was 113 degrees.
113.
It's
the
really
man
bad.
said it's 100. That's not humanly livable. I'm afraid everything will burn off my body before I get to the car. No, listen, you guys can follow me at The Rocha Says, TheRochaSays. You can see all the shows I'm co-hosting or hosting, like this show here, which I love doing with Mark, or you can see all the shows I'm a guest on, which I also enjoy doing on the multiple networks that I get to be on. We just launched the Top 10 show. We announced that we're launching the Top 10 show, which is going to be on the Collider Network. It'll be on Wednesday nights, where me and my co-host Matt Nost, which we did the Top 10 show as a podcast for a year. Collider bought us to put us on camera. We're going to count down the top 10 films of whatever's being released that week. And so, thank you, man. And so, this starting June 29th, we launched June 29th. We're going to do top 10 Spielberg films in honor of BFG coming out that weekend.
Wonderful.
And a new podcast that I just launched. It's called The Cinephiles. Finally
that out?
launched. Yes, it finally launched.
Literally going to the podcast app right
Thank
now.
you, man. It's CINE-FILES.
I know how
The
to spell
Cinephiles.
it.
Well, some people, the Cinephiles with PH, so I want to make sure. Yeah, the Cinephiles. It's my film professor friend Steve Morris, who teaches here in Los Angeles at the Los Angeles Film School and a couple other colleges. Me and him, we break down a film sometime before that came out before 2000. It is a classic film, and we chose for our debut episode to talk about Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Work faster internet connection. So if you want to hear more of this man's buttery voice,
Please.
Talk about more in the Lucasfilm world.
Yes.
So all about Cinephiles. All about it. I'm really excited to
Thank
listen
you,
to
man.
it. I'm always looking for new podcast stuff because I run through it a little bit too fast.
Oh, I appreciate that.
And you can follow me, on Twitter at Mark Donica, doing a whole bunch of stuff here at the Popcorn Talk Network. I'm also a host on Video Game Movie Anatomy. We just covered Warcraft last week, which was awesome.
Yes.
Great. It's now the highest grossing video game movie, so if you're a fan and you haven't seen it yet, what are you doing? Go see it. Also on our AfterBuzz Network, I host stuff relating to wrestling, online content with Rooster Teeth. I'm on Red vs. Blue. NXT, I did the Money in the Bank after show last night, so if you watched it, great show. We talked about it in depth. Check it out. Check me out. Check all of us out here on Twitter at The Popcorn Talk. And us, thank you for watching and or listening to Jedi Alliance. You can visit popcorntalknetwork.com to find a list of all of the past episodes of Jedi Alliance and links to both YouTube and iTunes. Please follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Jedi Alliance on Facebook and at Jedi_Alliance on Twitter for all of the us-related news. This has been Jedi Alliance on the Popcorn Talk Network. We talk movies. Thank you for listening, because many Bothans died to bring us this information.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.